Hi, Tracy Lewis from Stuff and Things. Today I'm working on a card that actually is a card that was inspired by this piece right here, which was a leftover from working on the Lily Pad Lake set. And I was experimenting with these little pieces which come out of this die. So I had set this aside to do something with. And I also had made another card out of the Flourishing Thinlit dies. And they are basically a set of flower dies with some extra pieces. And I cut these three flowers to look at what the color differences were between these three colors. So I had the blue, this is from the Myths and Magic set, and then I had three flowers, they're sitting right here, and I got to thinking, those might make a pretty card. It obviously is going to be some sort of an eclectic, artistic card of a bunch of random things, so I went a little bit further, and with the, this is also the Flourish Framelits, and this is copper foil. I have this set called, it's one of the new sets. It is called Stitched All Around, and by itself, just looking at these sentiments, it's not very interesting, but boy, are the die cuts cool. So I went ahead and thought I would work on a layered sentiment. That's kind of my latest thing. I just finished a set of 6 Mother's Day cards for my card making cohorts, and I used this set to make a multi-layered sentiment that said Happy Mother's Day, and every one had just a slightly different layering. So on this card, my colors are the Myth and Magic blue, these 3 pinks to dark red, basic gray, here I'll even show you, so Melon Mambo, Lovely Lipstick, Cherry Cobbler, Whisper White, and basic gray. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about where this Berry Burst comes in. So I have got some layers started on this card. And when I put it in a laid out setup, I had to work on what the sentiment was going to be and what the colors would be. So the sentiment does come from Stitched All Around. When I assemble this, you'll see that I'm going to use mono glue for the flowers because they're very delicate. So when I got to picking out the color for my best wishes, I had these. I hadn't picked out Berry Burst yet. I felt that the Mary Merlot and the Cherry Cobbler were going to be super dark, and I really wanted to make sure that the best wishes didn't appear to be a really dark color like the Cherry Cobbler of the big flower, and I actually used the Mary Merlot back here. The Cherry Cobbler has a little bit of a brown to it. I don't know if you can see it here. Move everything up. It's hard to tell, but when I look at these close up, here's my 4 colors I was deciding between for the sentiment. I definitely felt the Mary Merlot was way too dark, and the Cherry Cobbler had that slightly brown tint to it. Lovely Lipstick was a candidate. However, on my little index card, I thought it was a little bit on the light side, so I went ahead and pulled out Berry Burst, which has a little bit more of a purple to it. And I thought with Best being such a fine font, and then the Wishes being a heavy font, that between the 4 colors, this one here shows Mary Merlot and Cherry Cobbler. I mean, this is like splitting hairs. It could really have been any of one of these would have worked just fine. But I wanted to go with these two lighter colors and pick up the little bit more of the pinkish tone. So I went with Berry Burst. So a trick that I would say to use if you are working with your inks to match your papers, don't be afraid to go lighter on your inks, because when you do a single stamping of a word sentiment, it is going to end up being very dark, and it might end up darker than you would have liked. So that is my tip for the day. And that's what I decided on, and now I will get to assembling. I am going to pop this up. Everything else is going to be flat on the main layer of the card, and then when I put this on the card base, I will pop the whole thing up. How I glued the glimmer paper down was with mono glue. And with this set here, I also used mono glue for the glimmer to attach to the white, and then Friend as the top layer is also mono glued. All right, so there is my finished card. I'm going to put it on a base. I need to go cut one. But this is what it will look like. And I have one last thing. This is still good through the end of the month. The glitter enamel dots, same with the Myths and Magic glimmer paper set. And I will have them on my supplies list. I believe that I want to put these in the centers of the flowers. And the nice thing about these is that they do have the varied colors, which I really like. I find them very useful and versatile. And I think I'm going to put a dark one right there. There we go. So there it is. Made out of a bunch of leftovers, and it looks very cute. Hopefully you enjoyed this and enjoyed the talk about inks and going with the lighter color of ink to make sure it's not a lot darker than the cardstock that matches it. Thanks for watching.